Hello, hello, hello. This is Josephine Royal, and I'm here to touch your heart today, and with my guest, ShynDIGG. How you doing, ShynDIGG?
I'm well, Miss Josephine, and very well.
Well, let me tell you something. ShynDIGG is going to touch your heart today, and in a special kind of way with music. He's going to tell us all about his journey with music. Go ahead.
So, music. Well, I guess first of all, I was born, and then I heard Dionne Warwick and the Beatles and Peter and Gordon and Cliff Richard, and I was right in the middle of the British invasion. Actually, it wasn't an invasion because I was born in England. So when I moved to Jamaica at 5 with my parents, I grew up around rocksteady and all the American music that was available at the time. Motown, Sam and Dave, Otis Redding, Mamas and Papas, you name it. And also through the medium of television, But in 1969, the Jackson 5, that was a group that woke me up. Michael's voice in particular. And the fact that two of the brothers played bass and guitar, respectively, that was my inspiration for picking up an instrument. Very much the same way the Beatles had inspired so many in the early 60s to pick up guitar. It was just one of those things. So my love carried me through to this day.
Tell me what you love about Michael's voice.
Michael was flawless, and he sang like an adult, like someone who had experienced everything in life. I mean, he was perfect. Before him, I don't think there was a 9 or 10-year-old that sang with the emotion that he did, and with his soul. He was a genius. And he was a teacher without even knowing it. And I think, as some people in Motown said, that he sang like someone who was here before. And he just had a knowing. And that was his thing. And that drew me in, even although I didn't know what it meant. But being used to hearing music done by adults when you're a child, and then hearing someone come in and not singing like a child, but singing like, they know everything, every little lick. I mean, he was flawless. Plus, the fact that he was with Motown, they had given them material that really spanned his vocal ability. They just didn't give him throwaway songs. They gave them songs that were really melodic and extremely challenging. Songs that I dare any 10-year-old today to try and do. So Michael was unique in that way. He really was, I hate to say it, touched by God. That's just my thing. That's just my belief. So anyway.
Tell me, when did you form a band? How? Where did you go? And what did you do?
Well, as a kid in my teenage years, all I did was dream about being in a band. First, I wanted a Jackson 5 kind of thing, but I didn't have any brothers, so that was one. But as I got into the Ohio Players and Sly and the Family Stone, and as you remember, there were just so many bands at that time. Then that's what I wanted. I was into Earth, Wind and Fire and the Ohio Players and Isaac Brothers as the premier bands for me that were inspiring, and then Parliament Funkadelic. And I would just draw pictures of me and a whole bunch of other people on stage with guitars and drums and everything, and just having this vision of what I wanted. And then I got into my first band like around 77, which was a reggae band called Basic Race. I was with them for maybe a year or two. And then I moved to Florida to go to college and joined 2 or 3 bands there. But I began to realize that they weren't moving at the pace I wanted. I wanted something more. So then I had the idea to just put my own band together. And then when I moved to New York, I tried maybe 1, 2, or 3 times. And then on the 4th try, I was able to put a band together. But I realized that I had to realize that putting a band together just wasn't assembling people. First of all, you have to like people, and you have to care about people, and you have to put people together if you can, or if you can feel that, who are soulfully compatible, you know. And I wanted the kind of unit that Sly and the Family Stone had, a band that seemed to represent everyone. You know, Sly's band, for those of you who don't know, Sly and the Family Stone was a 7-piece band that had men, women, blacks, and whites. And everybody seemed to work on an equal level. The women weren't just background singers like so many women were at that time in frilly dresses and, you know, doing the thing. His sister Rose played keyboards, and Cynthia Robinson, an amazingly unique musician, played trumpet. You didn't see that, you know. And whereas probably everyone turned her down because she was a girl, here Sly comes along and says, no, you're playing with me.
Well, where did you travel to, and how did you?
Well, in the States, we traveled to a lot of colleges, upstate New York, you know, Virginia. God, I can't remember, but we traveled a lot. You know, we played a lot of places in New York. We tried to cover everywhere we could, you know, all the clubs that were around. And then we were able to travel to Europe, you know, to Scandinavian countries. And we did that twice for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time, and had the best time. And it was just great to do that with people that you were used to playing with, people who were your friends, and we all had a common goal. You know, so it was very exciting that we were on some kind of incline, you know, just trying to do everything we could to attract record companies and to get that deal where we had a safety net or something that we could be musicians without the day job.
But don't you admit, it's great to get those deals, but you don't really need that, though.
At the time, it seemed to be, I mean, it was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had the monopoly on the whole industry, and that was the thing. You get as many people on your mailing list, you play as many shows, and you draw as many people, and you show the record companies that you have drawing power. And of course, you try to create that single that will attract them, you know. So even if you were good, it didn't mean that the record companies were going to choose you. But I'll tell you what a friend told me much later, which just helped change my attitude, because I was just going on about getting a record deal and everything. And he said to me, my name Calvin, good friend of mine, Calvin Gaines, he says, you don't need a record deal. You are the deal. And I took that attitude and I ran with it, you know. And that was in the early 2000s. By that time, I'd given up on chasing record deals. I felt that we had tried 10 or 12 years. We did everything we could. We rehearsed 3 times a week. And we were a really, really good band. You know, the name of the band was The Trip. And we just did music because we wanted to do that full time. So we sacrificed. You know, we didn't even pay ourselves. And everybody contributed. We sat down and we did mailings. We would bring in the envelopes, tons of envelopes, and we had the postcards, and somebody stuffed them and everything, and somebody wrote on them or put, you know, we did all these things. And then I would take it to work. I worked at a major record company. I can't say what it was because they might trace me. But anyway, I would take it to back to work at a major record company where I worked, and I knew people in the mailing room, you know, and they would, you know, I said, listen, man, they would just like buy me lunch, and I would give them the whole mailing, and they'd send it out for us, you know.
Yeah, but don't you, when you look back on that, don't you feel like you were a family?
Oh, yeah.
You were a family doing something that you believed in and enjoyed. And I think I look at that. I look at some of the people that are doing it now, and I'm watching these people, and it's kind of unique,
Yeah.
I would say, but I wouldn't want to be them because everybody wants a piece of them.
Yeah. Well, you know, Yes, we were like family for a lot of years. And when it was finally over, I think we all started to realize that we were possibly exhausting everything. You know, we're getting older. And I think what happens in a band situation, I'm not sure it happened with us, but I think it's kind of safe to assume that when you're fighting so hard to get a record deal or something of that magnitude, if it's not happening, frustration sets in. And then cannibalism sets in. Meaning fingers start pointing, it's your fault why this isn't happening, and we're all pointing fingers at each other. And that inner frustration gets in and it starts to separate. And I think it's just a way of people saying, I need to get out of this and go my own way. And that's what happened. And we separated in 2000. And it was heartbreaking for me, I have to say. It's like I was so used to living one way, I didn't know how to live any other way. And I ended up hating music, and I just wanted to study computers and be done. But it fell back into my lap. And then I decided, okay, this is about the third time that I tried to get out of music, and it came back to me. So I said, all right, God, if this is what I'm supposed to do, then I'm going to do it without expectation. And I'm just going to do it for the pure love and talent.